Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden, what if, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back with part 3 of What If Deku Had a Blood Quirk. Y'all seem to be enjoying this. I've been getting a lot of good feedback about the what if. I've been enjoying making the what if. I want to say that out flat out, right? The viewership hasn't been, I will say, the best, but it hasn't been horrible either. But since I've been enjoying this series so much, like, I really don't mind making these episodes at all. And I want to give a little heads up. If you guys do say anything or try to like suggest something, this video was pre-recorded right after the one that I just made from part 2. So this is like right after, more or less, just so you know. I'm just doing it the night of because I wanted to have something in my back pocket that I can post while I work on some other stuff that I know that I have going on in the future. And yeah, I just want to give the little heads up. And just like always, make sure to check the links in the description, Discord, the person that makes the music, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, and let's just get into where we left off. Let's get it. Izuku, Toga, and Stain, now back at their hideouts, wait for the moment to strike. Stain says that they're basically hunting down one person, a hero by the name of Native. Native is someone that, well, isn't fit to be a hero. There's a couple more around there as well in Hosusu City that he needs to deal with. So that's exactly what they'll be doing. So Stain, Toga, and Izuku head off. Again, Toga is sidelined for the majority of this, but they continue on and they begin to gain ground, eventually finding the pro-hero Native, in which they swiftly kill him. And it's nothing really unreasonable. Native didn't stand a chance in the first place, and Ida would not be in the scenario at all. Of course, Izuku knows his rights from wrongs, and he showed mercy to his brother a long time ago, or whatever you want to call mercy. But that's beyond the point. What really matters is what is going to happen next. What is going to happen in Hosusu City, as the three of them are currently there. Nomus begin to invade. Nomus begin to attack all the pros, students, and everybody alike, citizens, and well, this isn't good. Stain realizes what this is. He realizes that it's the League of Villains. The League of Villains want to, well, recruit him. He hasn't said anything to Izuku and hasn't said anything to Toga because, well, he doesn't feel that it needs to be said. But that's why they're here. Izuku is then attacked and punched across the street by a Nomu, and he puts his hand out towards Stain and Toga, telling them to leave and that he can handle the Nomu on his own. And he begins wondering, are they after Stain or are they after him? Stain was under the assumption that they're after himself, obviously, because he's had a conversation with them. But that could be not the case. And well, Izuku begins fighting this Nomu, and he begins dominating him. Obviously, this Nomu is nowhere near the strength of the one that they fought before, and he begins controlling it using his Blood Quirk until he turns to the side and sees someone else fighting Stain and Toga. This isn't good. There was a hero nearby, someone very strong. Actually, him and his son. Izuku knows him pretty well. Shoto Todoroki is currently with Endeavour. Even Shoto looks at Izuku and is shocked to see him there. Izuku then controls Endeavor's blood, but has to let go of the Nomu. Endeavour is a different beast. Endeavour is someone that has a mind of its own, but also has these flames burning within him. Strength of a pro hero, not just a pro hero, but a top one, top 3 as is, and Endeavour isn't going to go down that easily. So Izuku begins controlling him, trying to get him to get off Stain and Toga so that they can leave. Eventually, they are able to escape. Even Stain knows his limitations, and not having the drop on someone like Endeavour would lead to their demise very quickly. Izuku lets go, and Endeavour sees, well, Izuku standing there. Endeavour says that isn't that one of their classmates, and Shoto doesn't know what to say. They weren't friends by any means, but Izuku was never a bad person while they were training, while they were learning together. Izuku wasn't even really a villain. He even protected the other students and helped everyone out. He even made sure Aizawa didn't die during the sequence of the Nomu attacking. So, what is he exactly? Shoto just nods, saying that he is one of the students, and this causes Endeavour to hesitate. So Endeavour doesn't attack Izuku, so he's able to make a swift escape through the alleyway, and Shoto doesn't even know what to say. Endeavour questions him, saying that didn't that kid betray them? And Todoroki, or Shoto, shakes his head and says that that wasn't really the case. That's what everyone wants you to think. But this person, he's more a vigilante than anything. And he hid amongst us and even protected us when that attack on the USJ happened. Endeavour scoffs at this and says that he is still a villain, but Shoto says that he disagrees. Just because some homeless man steals a candy bar from a store doesn't make them a villain. Breaking the law doesn't necessarily make you one. Endeavour looks at him in confusion, but then realizes what his son is saying. Endeavour decides not to chase, and they both end up leaving and defeating the rest of the Nomus that are there. Izuku, during this escape, tries to meet up with Stain and Toga, but as he thought. Two Nomus then step out of the shadows with a couple more people. Tomura Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and while they stand firm and ready to capture Izuku, even himself, he's weakened by this point. Holding Endeavour still is not an easy thing to do, and he may put up a good fight, but that fight is ended very quickly with a Nomu smashing his head into the ground. Izuku is out cold, unconscious, and brought into, the League of Villains' lair. They wake him up by splashing water on his face, and he looks at Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and another member that he's never seen by the name of Dabi. Izuku looks at the three of them and questions what they want.
It's pretty simple, kid. Very actually simple. We want you to join us. This whole little ragtag with you and here the hero killer is very interesting, but your quirk could be way more suited for me, for us, for all for one, my master.
I think I'm gonna have to pass. I appreciate the invite though. Dabi stands next to him and ignites his flames and says that really wasn't an invitation. He doesn't necessarily have a choice here. It's either join or die. And Shigaraki says that that's actually not the case. There's three options: join, die, or become a slave. Izuku doesn't know what he's talking about, and he points to Kurogiri. Izuku shakes his head. If you think I'm that weak-minded to become a slave, you have another thing coming.
Oh, trust me, kid. Weak-minded doesn't even matter. You'll end up falling for it, and you'll be living in a shadow realm forever.
Izuku looks at Kurogiri and his eyes widen. So they then punch Izuku in the face, knocking him out cold. Or, that's at least what they think. He's dragged away and the doctors and scientists begin working on him. But through his last bit of consciousness, Izuku implants something within the doctor's minds via the bloodstream. He basically gives himself a way out. He will be under the control for a little bit, but hopefully something will snap him out of it. Something will help him. So he implants something in their minds, something that would be a failsafe that once he hears it, he'll snap back to reality, and whatever they did to him will be reversed. Not only reversed though, anything that they do to him in terms of quirks, in which he overheard them talking about, he'll retain. His body may give out in 3 to 5 years, but at least he'll retain it enough to do what he needs to do. So Izuku and his mind begins to fade, and he disappears from existence. He's no longer Izuku anymore. They put a mask on him and they dye his hair. And they basically shovel him out.
Perfect. Now he's ready. Now this is something. All Might maybe couldn't have been defeated when we wanted him to, but this will definitely secure us the win. The final boss isn't even to come, and we already have the ultimate warrior. Our own blood warrior. It's honestly a cute name. He's just a kid, matter of fact.
Shigaraki begins to laugh, and Izuku takes one knee and bows to him. How may I be at your service?
Oh, nothing quite yet, but you'll be useful very soon.
Izuku, now a slave to the whims of Shigaraki and all for one. What's gonna happen to him? What's even going on back with Toga and Stain? Well, let's get to that. Toga and Stain are currently trying to find a way to find him. They don't know where he is at all. He knows that there's a good chance he was captured by the League of Villains. The thought process crossed his mind, but he didn't think he'd be captured that easily. They must have had serious firepower to do it. And what they don't realize is that is the truth. And what they don't realize is what is going to unfold in the coming days. Stain is worried. This is like his son. And Toga is as well, the one person that actually saved her from getting brutalized in an alleyway by two people that she didn't even know, just because of her quirk. Stain tells her not to worry, that Izuku has, well, a hard head, and that he'd die before flipping sides. But that worry did spike once again when they hear on the TV of a man with a mask and, well, blood trails beside him. He goes around killing those who step to him, killing every hero he sees. But it's like he doesn't even touch them. It's like he melts them from the bottom to the top, from the head to the toe. Stain is worried. But this person with a mask and this person with this blood-like boiling quirk isn't the same. He kills, disappears in an instant as if he has some teleportation quirk, and works his way around every single city, exterminating heroes. And just as more heroes come to combat him, he waves his goodbye and is gone. All he's doing is being a distraction to lure out somebody, lure out All Might himself, so that they can finish him off. So that's what happens. After a kidnapping at a forest of UA students, Katsuki Bakugo was kidnapped, and All Might and various other pro heroes invade the villain base. But Izuku is waiting in the rafters as they do. He then grabs All Might with his quirk and begins shoveling him outside. You know, Symbol of Peace, this is very interesting. I never thought I would get a chance to fight you. He looks at him, dead in the eyes, and he realizes, All Might realizes that this is the same kid that was at the USJ. The same kid that was in their school. This isn't him though, he feels the way he talks, the way it feels. Even every vibration in his voice feels different. It seems like it's all encoded in his brain. Well, All Might then tries to conversate with him, saying his made-up name that they knew at UA, but Izuku doesn't respond, saying that that name does not exist. He has no clue who that is. He only knows one thing and one mission. What is that? To kill you, All Might. Izuku begins his assault on All Might. His teleportation quirk and blood quirk is one hell of a combo. He boils his own blood to the point where he can almost match up with All Might's strength, or at least when All Might is about 50%. But All Might turns it up and punches Izuku in the face, sending him flying at a building, But guess who's there to catch him? All for One. He sits Izuku on the ground and smiles behind his mask, saying that he did great and that he'll just be supporting him from now on. All for One begins his assault on All Might. All Might knows that this isn't good. This is not a good matchup. He knows Izuku's quirk. He knows the quirk of the man or the boy that's sitting in front of them. All Might, every time he tries to make a move to destroy and hit All for One, he stopped midair. Crunched, his bones feel like they're aching, and everything, every piece of his body feels like it's draining him. And well, this isn't good. Izuku is losing his mind. Well, luckily someone then shows up. Stain drops down next to Izuku and begins questioning why he would do something like this.
You know, kid, I did expect more from you. You knew more. You're smarter than me, better than me. Why are you doing this?
Izuku looks at Stain and says that he has no idea who he is and what he's talking about.
I'm your master, kid. Sensei. How do you forget that? The one that took you off the streets when you had nothing was me. And you don't remember?
Izuku's head begins to hurt, but it's not working. Stain realizes that Izuku must have done something. A failsafe. The kid wouldn't go in blind. He never does. So he begins thinking, what would be the failsafe? What would get him to snap out of it? And Stain remembers a conversation they had. A conversation that even he didn't know they would end up having. And that was about Izuku being merciful.
You know, kid, I was serious when I said that maybe I can take some tips from you. You know the difference between mercy and killing, saving and being a hero, villain and hero. You know the difference.
Izuku's eyes begin to flicker and his hand begins to drop. Yeah, and you know, sometimes the student becomes the teacher. Izuku's eyes grow wide and his arms begin to reach out once again. He reaches toward All for One as if he's crushing him. Izuku begins to close his hand and All for One's veins begin to pop. All Might sees this and sees it as an opportunity. He punches All for One and he punches him so hard that all his blood vessels burst in his eyes and he's knocked out cold. Of course, bursting blood vessels in your eyes, you wouldn't die, but he's out cold and out for the count. Stain looks at Izuku and grabs him and tries to leave, but heroes cut him off. Stain realizes the predicament they're in, that he is in a bad spot. He put himself in a bad spot. He put Izuku in a bad spot. So, he decides that he wants to fight out of it. He doesn't care. As long as Izuku gets out of here, that's all he cares about. But Izuku raises his hand once again, and all the heroes begin to freeze.
You might want to move fast, Stain, because my body is breaking.
Stain smirks and dashes out of there with Toga and Izuku as soon as possible. But there were multiple heroes there that weren't affected. Aizawa, well, All Might. Aizawa actually smirks. And the rest of the heroes say why they didn't do anything if they weren't affected. And they say they were affected. And, well, Aizawa just continues to say that he was affected by his quirk, even though he knows that the distance of it didn't make sense, and that Izuku knew that he had to pick and choose the heroes he froze, and he gambled right. Aizawa, All Might, they wouldn't have went after him, and a lot of other heroes that he didn't unfreeze respected Izuku, at least respected what he was doing as a quote-unquote vigilante of sorts. But now, he's of a hot topic. They know that he's the masked man. They know he's the one that's been exterminating heroes. Of course, it wasn't him. But Izuku's now most likely one of the most wanted criminals on planet Earth, but mostly in Japan. Izuku, the boy that was taken off the streets, is now wanted for murder of countless heroes that will not see redemption. Izuku Midoriya, the one that trails blood behind him when he fights, is wanted at the top of the list next to another villain that we'll be seeing very soon, Overhaul. And that is a wrap for part 3 of What If Deku Had a Blood Quirk. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, sub, and comment down below any suggestions for future what ifs, or even this what if. I know I said I pre-recorded this, but still, you can drop that down in the below in the comment section. But yeah, that's about it. I really hope y'all enjoyed, and the next episode will be the finale, so just a little heads up. So yeah, that's about it, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.